2 years ago, I stood at this very board and told you guys that we were going to do a trade series for a supercar. So along the way, we've been trading cars like this. Little Suzuki Swift, accident damaged, we bought cheap on Copart, we repaired the front end and flipped for profit. But it's not only accident damaged cars we've been doing a lot of mechanical work as well. What started as dragging a dead Mini Cooper out of someone's garden for next to nothing, somehow turned into me trying to buy a supercar. The original plan was simple: buy cheap cars, fix them, flip them, and keep rolling every penny into the next deal. No sponsors, no magic shortcuts, just hustle, bad decisions, and the occasional miracle. Like I said, it all started with this Mini Cooper. A local guy had it sitting abandoned in his garden and just wanted rid of it. We dragged it out, got it running, cleaned it up, and somehow managed to sell it for £1,450. At the time, that felt massive, but little did I know that Mini was about to send us down an absolutely chaotic path. So naturally, with confidence and at an all-time high, I went out and bought what I thought was a bargain, a Honda Integra DC2. In reality, it was rotten.
Oh my god, man.
I mean proper rotten. The kind of car that makes you question every life decision you've ever made. That thing basically ruined the series before it even started.
No, no,
Yes, Michelle.
no, I need the car.
No, we need the car.
No.
Think of the bigger picture.
No.
Don't shut the door. Think
Paul,
of the bigger
no.
picture.
There is not. The bigger picture is me getting to work and the kids getting to school. No.
And this is where Michelle completely saved the trade-up challenge, because without her stepping in, the series was dead. She gave us, forcefully, her Golf GTI completely free on the agreement that I would owe her a car back later down the line. Which, looking back now, was either incredibly supportive or financially irresponsible, probably both. But that Golf completely changed everything. We sold it for £7,500 and suddenly the challenge was alive again. With actual money in the pot, I decided it was time to level things up. So I bought an accident damaged Corsa VXR Nürburgring edition from Copart, thinking it would be an easy repair and easy profit. It was not. Turns out fixing crash damaged cars is significantly harder than YouTube makes it look. And without Danny stepping in to help sort the rear quarter repair, that car would probably never have gone back on the road. Eventually we got it finished and we sold it for £3,000. After surviving the Corsa, I started thinking maybe accident damaged cars were the move. So next up was a BMW X1 M Sport. Again, crash damaged, and this time repaired on the driveway. But this one actually came together properly. No major disasters, no complete mental breakdowns, just a solid flip. And at the end, we sold it to a subscriber for £11,550. This has got the N47 engine in it, the BMW engine, which is common for timing chain issues. So we're hoping, and I've never done one before and neither's Darren, but we're hoping that we can save it. Now at this point I realised there was some serious money to be made in mechanical damaged cars, because most people are terrified of snap timing chains, engine noises and low compression. But if you can fix them cheaply, there's profit sitting right there.
There's the chain.
Should the chain be?
On here. There's no timing chain. It's Bluetooth. Chain's left to chat. Oh man.
Show us.
So we're cracked here. Snapped. And we've got broken lifters and rockers down there.
Cheap to buy, needed engine work, but overall a pretty straightforward turnaround, which makes a nice change considering most of the series has felt like automotive warfare. We got it sorted and sold it for £3,700. Then came the Alfa Romeo. Right, new twist in the trade series. I've bought an aircon regas machine and it came with a free car. Do you not believe me? He doesn't believe me, didn't he? No? Well, here's the key for proof, and it's an Alfa Romeo, and it's been recovered outside the workshop. And honestly, this one was barely even a car deal. We actually got it as part of a deal involving aircon machines, which sounds ridiculous now that I say it out loud. The Alpha had low compression, wasn't running right, and after sorting it out we managed to move it on for 1800 quid. Somehow after all this, we ended up with a completely free Renault Megane. I still don't fully understand how I keep getting talked into these deals, but free is free. We cleaned it up and sorted it, sold it for £1,200, and straight back into the trade up fund it went.
She's alive! It'll be stuff on the north.
And then there's the Peugeot 107. If you watched the cheap track car episode, you already know this car. We intended to track them, but with Gary's car no longer fit to continue the series, which I'll explain properly in a future episode, we added the 107 into the trade challenge and sold it to a family member for £1,000. The latest flip was probably the most stressful yet, a Suzuki Swift Sport with front end damage, and for some reason we thought rebuilding it in 24 hours was achievable. It was not. Everything fought us, parts didn't fit properly, time disappeared, and so did the morale.
Didn't order a radiator.
And by the end of it, we'd failed spectacularly. The car is currently up for sale for £3,500, so hopefully someone out there sees the potential in it and it goes to a happy new home. But even after all these deals, I still don't think we actually have enough money for a proper supercar, which is slightly concerning considering this is literally the entire point of the series. But has that stopped me looking at them anyway? Absolutely not. So today we're heading to some local dealerships to see what kind of supercar we can actually afford. And honestly, this might be either the best idea I've ever had or the dumbest. First up in the supercar shopping experience is Ferrari Glasgow. We've made the trip up here where we catch you guys up on our trading and see how much we actually need to achieve in order to buy a supercar. Now I think Ferrari might be out of our budget. They did perform well in the poll that we did for what car you guys wanted us to buy, but I think these ones might be a bit too new and a bit too overpriced for us, but we can only dream and we can go and find out right now. These cars are incredible, but then again so are the price tags. And it's not that they're not worth it, it's just modern day performance cars come with modern day prices. It's not like your typical Ford forecourt with the prices on the windows, so we searched online, which was an immediate reality check. But that's okay, because for me it's about the cars of my youth, the ones we had as posters. But even looking on Auto Trader and searching price low to high, the cheapest Ferrari 360 is 50 grand, still out of our reach. Right, so we've crossed the road from Glasgow Ferrari to Glasgow Porsche, so we're at Porsche now, doing a bit of window shopping and hopefully we can find a car in here, otherwise it's back to the drawing board. As you would expect, it's a similar scenario at Porsche. Searching online, the cheapest Porsche GT4 is a fish supper short of 60 grand, which means we're going backwards here. And then it's the same idea for Lamborghini. Sorting the price from low to high, the Gallardo comes in cheapest at 57 grand. And that's a Spider, which means it's a soft top. And since I don't have the hairline for that game, I need a normal Gallardo, which comes in at £58,000. As cool as it is walking around rows of supercars pretending you're about to buy one, the truth is, I just don't have enough money to buy one from a forecourt. Everything decent is way out of budget, which means if this challenge is going to continue, I need to start thinking outside the box. There is one car coming up for auction that could actually work for this series. The problem is, I'm still short, and not just by a little bit either. So we've just left Glasgow Audi. We're a little bit deflated. It's no Glasgow Audi. It's Glasgow Porsche. Audi's across the road, and we did have a little glimpse there as well, but there's no like Audi R8s there, and the criteria at Porsche isn't the best either. And the other thing is that the price, we've drastically underestimated how much we're going to need to get a supercar.
There is another option.
I don't know if that is an option though, Michelle.
It might be our only option.
That was like a, let's say that was more of a pipe dream than a real option.
I think these are proven to be pipe dreams at the moment. It might be the only real option we have.
But even that option, I'm still £10,000 short. of what I expect that car to sell for.
There is one thing that you could do, and I know you don't want to.
I said I wasn't doing that though, so
It might be the only thing. It might be the only way of making this. Like,
the car's
this.
at auction tomorrow.
Then you have to wrestle with yourself, I suppose. If you want the supercar, we want to finish this, it might be the only thing that we can do.
The car Michelle's referring to? My Subaru Impreza STI. And honestly, even saying that out loud actually feels wrong, because this isn't just another car for me. This Subaru means more than anything else I own. It's the last car I was ever in with my dad before he passed away, and because of that I've held on to it no matter what. I always said the car would never leave. And this Supercar series, as stupid as it sounds, it feels like something I have to finish. Not because it's about buying an expensive car, but because it represents every late night, every failed repair, every risk, every stressful moment, every tiny win, all building towards this big idea. And this is the thing, you might be thinking that my dad would be telling me to go and buy this car, but the reality is he wouldn't be. He's more like the person that would say, why do you want that? Or don't be so silly. As much as this idea sounds ridiculous, I do these things just to prove I'm wrong. So as much as it hurts, and trust me, it really does hurt, I think it might finally be time. This car's given me memories I'll keep forever, but maybe now it can help create new memories. And if selling the Subaru is finally what gets us to the supercar, then I guess we're going to have to do this properly.
Sold on approval. Your watch item is next on the block.
Oh no guys, it's next!
Bidder.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Bonus time.
Oh, come on. Do these guys know there's a person with severe anxiety here?
Sold on approval.
I think we're actually sitting behind.
And now the Lamborghini. New bidder.
We're bidding, guys.